You are listening to SPN, the Sports Podcasting Network.
Oh, on est live on SPN Radio. It's the Euro After Show. Studio line 778 400 SPN1. That's 778 400 SPN1. Live SPN Radio. Alors, t'en prends et t'en redemandes dans l'Euro After Show. Voici Kevin Laramé. Good day, good night, and welcome to the Euro After Show. I am joined today by my good friend from New York, Daniel Firestein. Daniel, how are you doing in this very busy time in the soccer world?
Oh my goodness, very, very busy and just amazing scenes once again in the country of France. Iceland does the impossible, Kevin. Not only do they survive an early penalty they conceded to England and Wayne Rooney converts it, but they quickly equalize and then all of a sudden they go up 2-1 and it was nothing all second half for England. Nothing at all. And the English once again bow out in the round of 16 in the Euros as they say goodbye.
Roy Hodgson already resigned. But let's not start there. Let's start with Iceland because they fully deserve this. You can hear in the background the Icelandic warrior chant. They actually propelled their team to the quarterfinals of the Euro, a country with 300,000 inhabitants, Daniel. That's like more than one-third, a little less than one-third, of the city I am presently, Laval. And it's like 1/10 of what basically New York is, so it's kind of crazy.
Isn't Iceland near Canada in the Atlantic Ocean? I would assume they're
No, it's not.
somewhere near Canada. I would have to say in the very, very northern end of Quebec province.
Well, some part of Groenland is not that far, but that's a different story altogether. But yes, Nordic country, 300,000 inhabitants, about 12% of them in the stadium tonight to cheer on their team, who historically beat England tonight 2-1, fully deserved. They actually went after the game too, not necessarily defensively. They were going forward and worked for their 2 goals. And for England, well, they got lucky with it. It started well. Everybody's like, wow, England, early penalty. It's good for England. They're going to go on and yay, go England. Turns out, Daniel, that Iceland, a team that's well coached and well organized, well, it's more dangerous than just names.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what, Kevin? The thing is that Iceland, most of their players are playing in Europe. I know there's an Icelandic league, but, it's not as strong as playing in England or in Germany or in Spain or in Italy, maybe even France itself. And to see these players come up big and just having the tournament of their lives is just unreal to see what has happened with this Nordic side. Now, some, including here in the States, Ian Dark of ESPN was saying that this could be the biggest embarrassment since the 1950 World Cup to the United States, where they lost 1-0 back down in Belo Horizonte in Brazil.
It's not that bad because if you look at the actual team of Iceland, they beat the Netherlands to qualify for this tournament. They were 1 victory away from qualifying from the 2014 World Cup. It's a team that's been on the cusp for a couple years. Yes, they had a couple of bumps in the road, but they made it to this tournament. It would have made it any other way, 16 or 24 teams. And this team is organized, is well built, does believe in themselves, and they are brought up the right way in the world of soccer. The famous way Iceland did this is taking their best coaches and putting it with young kids from 5 to 8 years old and coach them the right way when they're younger. And it made a impressive percentage of results for the amount of professional players that they produce compared to the amount of people living in that country, which is mind-boggling when you think about it, compared to the States, Canada, or any other major, just regular country in this world. Iceland, what they have done, and it's not just soccer; it's a sporting story as a whole. And what you can do if you put the infrastructures that are willing to take the time and to, yes, put the money where you need to, you can actually achieve great results, and there is no limits.
No, there isn't. And to see this team in Iceland all of a sudden finally breaking out and just doing the deed that is not just to get out of the group stage, but to do something much more than just being there. And to see them now advancing out of the second round, knocking out England, moving on to the quarterfinals. This team, this squad that we are watching, they are doing an unbelievable job. And look at where they are now. I mean, look at some of these teams here that these Icelandic players are playing for them, especially like in Sweden, like AIK, Hammarby, Bodo Glimt. I believe that's in the Norwegian league.
Yes, that's where Zarek Valentin went to play when he left Montreal.
Yep.
And no, yeah, absolutely right. There's the players that are not necessarily playing at the highest club, but are playing at club big enough for them to have playing time, but they are getting better. And that's a different story too. When your big players are playing in big club, but are on the fringe of a starting team, you're not playing as much. But just to go back to England for a second before we move to Italy and Spain, another cracker of a game that happened today, which Italy did a great job today tactically. We'll move on to this later. England, speaking of tactics, had none. It seemed like it was just, all right, we need to put this guy, him. Oh, Rooney. Oh, where could he put Rooney? All right, let's put him here. All right, let's try this. It's literally what it felt like it was today.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And, you know, it sometimes you wonder what goes on in a manager's head, with, especially with a national team. You're trying to find a way to beat this team, whether you had tactics or not. And it looks like they had not. It was more of smash, grab, and try to run home with a win so you can move on to the quarterfinals.
And it's the classic, oh, what to do when we're down a goal? It's the 80-something minute. You're tall, you're young, you're fast. Go on the pitch, Marcus. And Marcus Rashford almost scored a goal, though, to be quite fair. He had maybe 2 chances late in the game, but never really any trouble for Iceland. The other game today that was really interesting, the champion still, well, they won't be for long, but Spain, defending champion, versus Italy, a rematch of the final 4 years ago where Italy lost 4-0. This time, it wasn't the case. Vendetta has been done in France in 2016, Daniel.
You know, Spain, you can tell their players are getting older. They're not as strong as they used to be. You know, there are times when a national team plays in these international tournaments, and sometimes they play due to the reputation of that crest, of that shield that's over their hearts. Sometimes it's not about tactics, Kevin. Sometimes it's about, oh, we are Spain. We can do whatever we want, and these other teams that face us will fear us. And that's the thing that happens with Brazil, too. Brazil sometimes does not play to their strengths. Sometimes they play to their reputation. If you see their yellow shirts, run and hide. And that's what Peru did not do in the Copa America Centenario. They went after them, even though Brazil played for a draw. That costed them to advance into the quarterfinals, and that's why Dunga was sacked. And now look at what happens here. Yep. I don't know if Del Bosque will get sacked for Spain.
He has to resign or something. He has to pull He has to pull the Roy Hodgson.
Yeah. But when I think he's gonna have to resign. I agree with you because
that's twice now. It's 2014 and this year.
Mm-hmm. I mean, look what happened in the World Cup. You know, they don't even get out of the group, and they're dead and buried.
And it was a similar squad to the World Cup too. You had a couple of different players like Morata and younger ones like that, Roscoe. But outside of that, it was a similar core of players from 2014. But outside of that, when you're looking at the Italy team, I predicted yesterday on the Euro After Show, same show as this one, that for Italy, the key was to do the same thing as Croatia did against
Spain in the round of the group stage is to go after Spain, physical after them, go after the ball, get the ball back, and don't give it back to them. If you do that, well, what is Spain going to do? They're going to run after the ball. They're going to have to do what every other team did because of them for the last 8 years. That's why they were so beloved and hated by other players, because damn it was hard to play against them. You had to run after them, run after the ball, because their ball possession and their tactically speaking with their tiki-taka, which has evolved, but what they were able to do is make you literally exhausted chasing them for a whole 90 minutes. Now they got that done to them by Italy, and Italy did this being an older team, but with maybe the three best defender, definitely the best backline in this tournament, in a three type of the backline that, yes, was changing with the help of other players, but were able to control and neutralize every single threat that Spain had today.
And that's why Italy's showing right now that they are the better side. I mean, still some question marks of this Italian roster by Conte with no Sebastian Giovinco, that, many still feel, if he was playing on this Italian team, maybe they would be dominating very hard on the offensive side of the ball. I think Conte, while I know he's only the caretaker manager for this European national team, still, his tactics are very, very Italian, if you want to go that far, because what do Italians do most often than not? They defend very well. So while he's defending very well, possession was not there in the group stage. Possession finally showed up in this round of 16 matchup against Spain. And I think Conte, whether you want to say he didn't want to show his full hand to the rest of the blackjack table, at the moment, I think he knew what he was doing, and still, I think they could be a little bit more offensive if he wants to get there or get that far.
Yep, but they at the end of the game, when they were getting a little bit exhausted, Spain did have a couple of opportunities, but nothing that Buffon couldn't handle. And when you're looking at a backline that if there's any aerial ball, they will get it back, and at least maybe not get possession back, but it doesn't matter. Kick it out. Get it out of the way. Boot it. Get it out of here. And that enough is very Italian, yes, but it's enough to take the pressure off and make a team like Spain today work for every single yard of space on the pitch. And Italy was able to win those battles. And look, it's finished 2-0. Could have been a different result if the Spain could have had maybe a bit more realism in the box. But you know what? Italy worked for their luck in a way by having the right defender placed at the right time to get that block off of a Spain shot. So Italy is all full measure for this win, and they're in my top 4 teams. We're gonna take a second after the break to talk about the quarterfinals preview, but Italy right now is one of my favorite, and it's a shame that they're fighting another favorite in the quarters. Yeah, exactly, because Germany in the quarter. So interesting. Any final thought on Spain and Italy? Do you think Italy's momentum is going to carry over to the next round, because they're going to need it against a Germany that's just building and just getting better game after game?
You know what? Once again, this is a match where you cannot really go against the Germans, because once again, Yogi Löw has them working very well. It's taken them maybe a match or two to reassess and reaffirm their positions in Europe when it comes to this tournament. But the truth of the matter is this, is that I feel Italy might not get out past the quarterfinals, because Germany right now seems to be the stronger of the two. Because anytime you have Germany and Italy facing against each other, Germans can attack very well and defend very well. Italy, still more of a question mark on the attack, but defending is never a question with the Azzurri.
Yeah, no, exactly. So that's going to be interesting. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back and preview the quarterfinals that start Thursday.
You are listening to SPN Radio, powered by the Sports Podcasting Network. Visit sportspodcastingnetwork.com for more.
Give us a call. Studio line 778-400-SPN1. That's 778-400-SPN1. Give us a call right now. Lines are open. Daniel, the quarterfinals are set. Which of the 4 games is the most interesting to you to start?
I have to say that Germany and Italy will be the number 1 most interesting quarterfinal of the 4. We've already mentioned about, what we're going to see with these two sides, and to me, that will always be the top one for me. Now, to go with the other 3, I think Iceland, that just defeated England, will take on the host nation in France. And while the French have survived this far, this is the most intriguing because, let's be honest, this is not a strong French side. They have won, they have advanced, they have looked good at times, they've looked poor at times.
But they haven't looked great at all. You're absolutely right.
Yep, yeah. So, I mean, right now, who wants to play? I mean, seriously, who wants to play Iceland right now?
Well, nobody.
Nobody wants to play Iceland right now. So this is going to be a very interesting matchup if you are looking at what Didier Deschamps is looking to do as manager of France. Because while he knows he's got a good squad, not a great squad, it's a good squad. And obviously, they're in a transition. Still, if they lose to a peckish Iceland side, and right now, I mean, you can still hear the screaming of cheers and happiness up the Atlantic between Greenland and the United Kingdom.
Daniel, in Reykjavik tonight, the
Yep.
streets have been closed.
Of
You're not
course.
allowed to drive today.
No,
Everybody's celebrating and everybody's probably drunk.
absolutely.
In all
There's
fairness, and they deserve to be.
They deserve all of it. And, seeing a shot from Reykjavik from ESPN today here in the States, to see them celebrating, partying, clapping, cheering, you feel really good for them. I have to say this, and I have to make a mention of this. There is a Red Bull supporter who is Icelandic, and his name is. Now I have to quickly get his name up because I have to make sure I say his name correctly. And his name is Ori Jar Samerson. This man is from Iceland. He is a car salesman in his native island. And he's a huge, he's happy for his national team. And I bet he's even happier now. And I hope he's not driving home. But anyway.
No, but just go back to on the French side of thing here for this Iceland-France game. France had trouble with Ireland. And so far in this tournament, France hasn't scored a goal in the first half of any of their games, group stage or knockout stage combined. Against Ireland, it took a great performance by not just Griezmann, but by Giroud to create those 2 goals. Now they will face a team in Iceland that's a little more well-organized than Ireland, a little younger and even faster. So how does France adjust to an Iceland team that will give them trouble, probably even more than an Ireland team did?
There has to be strategic fouls. I have to say it. They're going to have to foul Iceland. Not a lot, but when they are bringing up the ball, they're going to have to try to steal the ball. They're going to have to try a man-to-man coverage if possible. If I feel like if they go zone, if you're going to go into a zonal coverage, that's going to be playing right into Iceland's hands. And I think that's the thing with England. They tried to do it with pace. They tried to zonal coverage, and it failed them today after they were scored on for Iceland's second goal. You got to be aware of who is out there, and you got to be aware of who has the ball, and you got to be aware of how they're going to bring up the ball to attack. If you are sloppy, And if you fall asleep, Iceland will take advantage like they did when they equalized very quickly after they allowed the penalty to be converted. So right now, excuse me, for France, I mean, they're going to have eyes in the back of their heads to make sure that they don't fall asleep on Iceland, because if Iceland makes you fall asleep, then you're gone. You're dead. You're going to have a ball being picked out of the back of your net.
And the French media and the French national team supporters will probably never forgive their team to lose a host tournament against a team like Iceland when you're friends, when you're still considered, they're still in my top 4 teams in this tournament, because they might not have looked decent, but they found ways to get the win. And you know what? In sports, it's not always pretty. It's not always shiny. But hey, if you get the job done, you get the job done. And France have done that so far this year.
Yeah.
But Iceland, it's interesting. Let's move on to the one game that I predict that's going to be probably the most boring out of the 4, because Poland, Portugal, both team needed extra time, and in one case, penalties to decide their spot in the quarterfinals. Croatia, Portugal, by the way, I said it a couple times already. If you haven't seen that game, don't go watch it. Don't watch 115 minutes. Just watch the last 5, and you will thank me for it later, Daniel.
Well, I haven't watched it, so thank you.
Yeah, don't. You will lose.
But
it was one of the worst games I've seen, just because when you're so afraid not to lose and you're so conservative, just makes for dreadful sports.
This is the thing about Portugal that really bothers me about them, because individually they're brilliant. We all know about Cristiano Ronaldo. Back of those players in the past, like Beto, like Figo, Rui Costa. I mean, individually on their club sides, they're absolutely brilliant. We all know Cristiano Ronaldo is on another level, but when they come together for the national team, when they come together and play for their country, they are probably the biggest jinxes I have ever seen. They are talented. They are wonderful. The problem is, for some stupid reason, they cannot get it all together at the right time. Even Pepe, you pray to God Pepe doesn't do anything stupid, and when he does something stupid, it costs Portugal very dearly. Yes,
we'll go back to you're like, ooh, come on. When he's about to sign, you're like, oh, yeah. All right. He didn't get a card. He's good.
They're getting carried away now,
exactly,
Mr. Laramie, but that's okay.
But even Poland, when you're looking at a Poland team that hasn't looked necessarily good so far, they haven't looked bad. They only conceded 1 goal, and it's the one against Switzerland, the great Shaqiri bicycle kick. Outside of that, they were clean, literally. And Poland, with a Lewandowski that hasn't started to fire yet, could be dangerous in a one-off against Portugal. You only need one moment of brilliance by Lewandowski, which, granted, Ronaldo can have as well. But for Poland, they might have a shot against Portugal, because if Portugal plays on their heels once again, this time Poland can find the back of the net a lot better than Croatia.
Right. And right now, Poland, with some luck, I think they can do something good here. But the truth of the matter is this: Poland needs to find a way to defend against Cristiano Ronaldo, because I'm telling you right now, that's going to be a very, very hard thing to do if you allow him to have the ball. And, this time Ronaldo's not exhausted. He's not tired. There is no excuses for Ronaldo to move Portugal into the quarterfinals. There is no excuses at all anymore. Because, fine. Lionel Messi left kicking and screaming like a baby after the loss to Chile in the Copa America final. Again, this is the 3rd consecutive final of any kind that Argentina has played in and lost.
And I think it's his 4th and Mascherano's 5th in a row, by the way.
Yep, exactly. But here's the thing, and it has to be said. It really, really has to be said here. Because, you see, Messi cannot do it alone. Messi needs help. That's why they're called the Argentinian national team, not the national team of Lionel Messi, but he's on Argentina anyway. And to see what happened there, sometimes I think Ronaldo does way too much. He needs to let his players, his fellow countrymen, help him out like he has to help them out. He's going to have to learn some form of humility, Kevin, because if he continues to try and to continue on being a ball hog, what's that going to do for Portugal? And what's that going to do for them advancing deep into tournaments? Nothing.
Very good point. All right, we talked about all three matchups. Let's finish with Wales and Belgium. Wales, one of the last two Cinderella story in this tournament. Wales and Bale literally playing a lot better than people expected, winning their group and beating Northern Ireland in the round of 16, but versus a Belgium team that looked like a world beater yesterday, defeating one of these Cinderella stories. So Belgium, the way it's looking, they're looking like the Cinderella killer. Will it continue against Wales, do you think, Daniel?
I'll say this right now. I have no clue at all, because this is probably the biggest wild card game we have ever seen. And when I say wild card, I'm talking about two sides that are able to just come out of nowhere and they can slip a goal in, whether it's too cheeky, too dangerous, or just, oh my goodness, what did we just see? I'm telling you right now, Kevin, we have a situation here where this might be the biggest offensive match you'll ever see. Belgium is an up-and-comer. Wales just came out of nowhere. We got two sides that could possibly come out of nowhere and maybe score multiple goals, and we could go into extra time and penalties, and we'd still love it.
Yep, and you fancy both teams' chances against either of the winner on the other quarterfinals on their side. So either Poland or Portugal, the winner of this Wales and Belgium team, could beat the other team quite easily and have a type of easy path to the final. So this is still set up to have either Belgium, France, Belgium, Germany, Italy, or if Iceland continues on the story, they still have two powerhouse in the world of football to beat. France first, and if they win that, they have to either beat Germany or Italy. So for Iceland, the Cinderella story, it's gonna end eventually. I don't want to say that they're pushing their luck, but eventually cream rises to the top, and Germany and Italy have more cream. So we'll see where that leads. But if I would venture in predictions, and I would ask you the same thing, Daniel, who would you see being the two finalists with the 8 teams remaining so far?
Well, if you have to put me in a corner and try to box me in to give me give you my predictions, I can easily say Germany is one. The second one would be very difficult because, Belgium or Wales could come out of nowhere and just scare people. That is, you hope that Wales or Belgium winner does not face Germany. That's the thing, but still.
Well, no, you have a Wales, Belgium on one side with Poland and Portugal. So it would be the winner of Wales, Belgium versus the winner of Poland, Portugal.
Okay.
And on the other side, Germany, Italy, France, Iceland, the winner of Germany, Italy versus the winner of France, Iceland. So if you say France, it means that it's either against either Belgium, Wales, Portugal, or Poland. So in a way, it's still going to be an easier group if you're an easier side if you're group of Belgium, Wales, Portugal, Poland. But you know what? This tournament has changed the way I see international soccer. The gap isn't that big, and that's exactly what this tournament has shown us.
Exactly. So here it is. And I'll go out on a limb right now. Not on a limb on Germany, because that's going to be one of my finalists. I'm going to have to go out on a limb, and I'm going to make you happy because there's a certain player that plays for the Impact that is in Belgium right now, and that is, of course, Laurent Simon. And I'm going to go with Germany, Belgium for the final.
Hey, sounds good to me. I have to say with you right now, those are the two teams that are looking the best, especially offensively, with both their performances. 3-0 Germany against Slovakia in the round of 16, and for Belgium, a 4-0 win against Hungary that was actually playing really good in that game as well. Daniel Feierstein, thank you very much for joining us today on the Euro After Show. You can follow Daniel on Twitter at the Feierstein thing. And for Daniel, I'm Kevin Laramie. And until next time, tomorrow, 11 a.m., Soccer Today. Have a great soccer. You were listening to SPN, the Sports Podcasting Network. Visit us, sportspodcastingnetwork.com.